Eminem told Jay-Z he wasn't doing the Super Bowl without 50 Cent, and Jay-Z said no anyway. That's the claim 50's been making for the past 2 years, and honestly, the receipts he's been dropping make it hard to ignore. But here's where it gets really interesting. 50's not just talking about one block performance anymore. He's going after Jay's entire legacy, his Grammys, his business reputation, even his marriage to Beyonce. And for the first time, we might actually be seeing Jay respond. Let me break down exactly what's happening and why this decades-old beef just got a whole lot messier. So check it. This whole thing exploded again back in December 2024 when 50 sat down with Cameron on his new show, Talk with Flea. And look, these two have their own complicated history, but when they got on the topic of Jay-Z, 50 did not hold back. He laid out the whole Super Bowl situation from February 2022, that historic halftime show at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. You remember it, the one with Dre, Snoop, Eminem, Mary J., and Kendrick. First time the Super Bowl really put hip-hop front and center like that. And then, out of nowhere, 50 drops an Upside Down doing his In Da Club thing, and the internet loses its mind. But according to 50, that moment almost never happened. And the reason? Jay-Z. Now here's where you need to understand the power dynamics at play. Since 2019, Jay's company Roc Nation has been locked in with the NFL to produce the halftime show. That means Hav has major influence over who gets picked, how the whole thing is produced, the creative direction, everything. He's basically the gatekeeper to one of the most watched performances in American television. And 50 is saying Jay used that position to try and keep him off the stage entirely. In that Cameron interview, 50 explained that Jay went directly to Dre and Eminem and told them he didn't want 50 anywhere near that performance. But here's the thing, and this is where you see that ride or die loyalty. Eminem wasn't having it. Tony Yayo, 50's Day One G-Unit brother, confirmed this whole story when he sat down with DJ Vlad. He said Eminem basically told the NFL, I'm not doing this if 50 doesn't do it. Think about what that means. One of the biggest draws of the entire halftime show, a certified legend, was ready to walk away because Jay allegedly tried to block 50. When Cam asked 50 why he thought Jay would go that hard, 50 had an interesting take. He said it's not even about being threatened. It's just that the competition in hip-hop has crossed the line. He put it like this: our culture's competitive. That's just how it is. But when it goes past the music itself to blocking things in business, I don't understand that. And honestly, that's a pretty measured response considering the accusations he's making. Now 50's been telling this story consistently across multiple interviews. Back in July 2024, he told The Hollywood Reporter the same thing. They wanted to leave me out of it. It was them fighting for me to stay out of it. He even said it should be documented somewhere. Like he believes it's in the NFL paperwork that Eminem refused to perform without him. Then, in October 2024, he pulled up on The Breakfast Club and doubled down again. He said at first they tried to pin it on the NFL, like the league had the issue with him. But 50 knew better. His people in the industry told him exactly where that resistance was really coming from. And here's the part nobody talks about. 50 pointed out the contradiction himself. He said, why would the NFL have a problem with me performing when I'm literally becoming a partner with actual NFL teams? But suddenly they have an issue with my performance? That doesn't add up. He's right. It doesn't. But the Super Bowl drama is just one piece of this whole thing. 50 has been coming for Jay on multiple fronts, and some of his shots are absolutely wild. Back in January 2023, 50 did an interview where he went after Jay's whole aesthetic. He was talking about how N.O.R.E. mentioned on Drink Champs that Jay called Eminem the white boy when discussing the Super Bowl situation, and that bothered 50. He was like, why did he say the white boy? Why didn't he say the biggest rap artist in the world? Then 50 took it further. He said Jay images himself after Basquiat, the famous painter who was documented as bisexual. 50's exact words were, big homie want to look like a gay painter. Now, whether you think that's funny or disrespectful to Basquiat's legacy, that's on you. But the point is, 50 was making it personal. He wasn't just talking about business moves anymore. And here's where it gets even spicier. Fast forward to December 2024, 50 goes on Andrew Schultz's Flagrant podcast and drops what might be his most controversial take yet. He said Jay's entire come-up, his Grammy wins, his status in the industry, it's all tied to one thing: marrying Beyonce. His exact words were, when Jay signed his contract, the big one was with Beyonce. When he signed that contract, the marriage contract, he got trophies. Now, those trophies came rolling in, buddy. He started getting Grammys left and right. 50 claimed that before Beyonce, Jay had 1 Grammy. Now he's got over 20. And when Schultz asked if he really believed Jay's success comes from that marriage, 50 didn't hesitate. He said absolutely. He's been treated differently. Now look, let's actually check the facts here, because this is interesting. Jay won his first Grammy for Volume 2 Hard Knock Life back in 1998. He didn't win another one until 2004, which was for Crazy in Love with Beyonce. Since then, 22 more Grammys. The timeline actually does line up the way 50 is describing it. But does correlation equal causation? That's the real question. Jay was already considered one of the greatest rappers alive before Beyonce. Reasonable Doubt, The Blueprint, those albums cemented his legacy. But you can't deny that his industry power and award show recognition reached another level after they got together. 50 even went further. He said their kids already have Grammys. They don't sing yet. They don't sing. They don't rap yet. And they already have Grammys. His point being that the Recording Academy will give the Carter family whatever they want to make sure they keep showing up. Is that hating? Maybe. But it's also the kind of industry observation that makes people uncomfortable, because there might be some truth to it. Now, this beef goes way back, and understanding the history helps explain why 50 is so relentless about it. It all started in 1999 with a song called How to Rob. Young 50 Cent, before he was even signed to a major label, put out this track where he rapped about robbing every big name in hip-hop. Jay-Z was on that list. Jay clapped back the same year with It's Hot, Some Like It Hot, with that famous line, I'm about $1, what the F out is 50 Cent? And from that moment on, there was always an undercurrent of tension between them. They've had their moments of being cool. They even collaborated on the I Get Money remix back in 2007, which also featured Diddy of all people. But 50 has said that was strictly business. The personal animosity never really went away. And here's the thing about 50. The man holds grudges like nobody else in hip-hop. He's been going at Ja Rule for over 20 years. His beef with Rick Ross has lasted over a decade. He trolled Young Buck for years after the G-Unit fallout. So the fact that he's still coming for Jay 2 decades later, that's just 50 being 50. But there's something different about this moment. The timing matters. In December 2024, Jay-Z was named in a civil lawsuit alongside Diddy, accused of assaulting a minor back in 2000. Jay denied the allegations and called them heinous. The lawsuit has since faced scrutiny, with the accuser's story being questioned. But it put Jay in an uncomfortable spotlight. And guess who was right there ready to pile on? 50 Cent. He posted on Instagram asking if we're still going to have a Super Bowl, clearly implying that Jay's involvement with Rock Nation might be affected. Then when Jay showed up at the Mufasa premiere with Beyonce and Blue Ivy just days after the lawsuit dropped, 50 posted a joke about it that he later deleted. Some people called it savage. Others called it tasteless, considering the nature of the allegations. But it showed that 50 wasn't about to let up just because the situation got serious. What's wild is that 50 has actually been careful not to accuse Jay of anything related to the Diddy situation. When asked directly on the Flagrant podcast, he declined to comment. He said no matter how you answer, you're snitching. So he's drawing a line there. But everything else, Jay's business moves, his Grammy wins, his supposed attempts to block 50's career, all fair game apparently. And here's where we need to talk about Jay's response, because this is new. For years, Jay has operated on the Hove principle, which is basically don't acknowledge people who are beneath you. He's let 50 talk and talk without ever really responding directly. Some people see that as classy. Others see it as arrogant. But recently, there have been signs that Jay might be breaking his silence. There's a clip that's been circulating where Jay appears to address some of the accusations being made about him. And while he doesn't mention 50 by name, the timing and context make it pretty clear who he's talking about. Now, I need to be careful here, because the exact nature of what Jay said is being interpreted different ways by different people. Some are saying it's a direct response to 50's years of attacks. Others are saying it's more about the legal situation. But either way, the fact that Jay is saying anything at all is significant. For so long, his strategy has been to stay above the fray. Let the music speak. Let the business success speak. But maybe that's changing. Here's what I think is really going on. This isn't just about personal beef anymore. It's about two different models of success in hip-hop and which one is more legitimate. 50's model was get rich fast, make hits, build a brand outside of music, and don't let anyone disrespect you without consequences. His peak was explosive. Get Rich or Die Trying is still one of the best-selling rap debuts ever. but his musical relevance faded while his business and TV empire grew. Jay's model was different: longevity, play the long game, transition from rapper to mogul, marry the biggest female artist of a generation, build institutional power that goes beyond chart positions. He didn't need to keep dropping hits because he was building something bigger. And now 50 is basically saying that Jay's model was partly a shortcut, that the Beyonce marriage elevated him in ways his solo work couldn't. That's a pretty direct attack on Jay's legacy. The question is, does any of this actually damage Jay-Z's reputation? Here's my honest take. For the people who already don't like Jay, 50's commentary is fuel. It confirms what they want to believe. But for Jay's core fan base, and for industry insiders who know his actual body of work, 50 just looks like a hater who can't let go of old grudges. The Beyonce marriage theory is especially interesting because it goes both ways. Yes, Jay has benefited enormously from being with Beyonce, but she's also benefited from his business acumen and industry connections. They've built an empire together. Is that really something to criticize? But the Super Bowl stuff, that hits different. Because if Jay really did try to block 50 from performing, and Eminem had to threaten to quit to make it happen, that's a significant abuse of power. That's using your corporate position to settle personal scores. And 50's point about the NFL having no problems with him as a business partner makes the whole thing look even worse for Jay. If the league is fine with 50's money, why would they suddenly have an issue with him performing? Now we have to wait and see how this plays out. Jay might continue to stay quiet and let his lawyers handle the legal stuff while ignoring 50 entirely, or we might be entering a new chapter where Hav actually engages. 50, meanwhile, shows no signs of stopping. He's got his Diddy documentary coming out, and you know he's going to keep poking at anyone connected to that situation. Plus, he genuinely seems to enjoy this. The man thrives on conflict. The internet is split. Some people are Team 50, saying he's the only one willing to speak truth about the industry's power dynamics. Others are saying he's obsessed with Jay and needs to focus on making music again instead of gossiping. Both takes have merit, honestly. 50, meanwhile, shows no signs of stopping. He's got his Diddy documentary coming out, and you know he's going to keep poking at anyone connected to that situation. Plus, he genuinely seems to enjoy this. The man thrives on conflict. The internet is split. Some people are Team 50, saying he's the only one willing to speak truth about the industry's power dynamics. Others are saying he's obsessed with Jay and needs to focus on making music again instead of gossiping. Both takes have merit, honestly. What's undeniable is that this decades-long rivalry is having a moment. And with everything happening in hip-hop right now, with Kendrick and Drake's beef still echoing, with Diddy's legal situation unfolding, with questions about industry power structures becoming more mainstream, the timing of 50's attacks on Jay feels more relevant than ever. We're in an era where fans want transparency. They want to know how the sausage gets made. And 50, for all his trolling and personal vendettas, is giving people a look behind the curtain that they rarely get. Whether you believe him or not is up to you. But hold up, we need to talk about the fighting rumors, because this just got even crazier. So just this month, after 50's Diddy documentary dropped on Netflix, there's been speculation online that Jay-Z, J. Rule, and Roc Nation are allegedly teaming up to come after 50. Someone posted a comment saying Ja Rule and 50's ex started following each other on Instagram, and that Jay-Z, Roc Nation, and executive Desiree Perez were supposedly planning to get him out the paint. 50's response? He posted on Instagram saying, all, my momentum make them all get together. LOL. The man literally laughed at the idea of his enemies joining forces against him. That's either supreme confidence or supreme trolling. Probably both. And honestly, given 50's history, you understand why he's not sweating it. This is the same guy who had confirmed physical altercations with Ja Rule back in the day. Tony Yayo told the story on $1 Million Worth of Game about how 50 knocked out Ja Rule in Atlanta. Said 50 caught him with a left hook because he's a southpaw. Ja Rule tells a different version in his autobiography where he claims he won, but that's a whole other conversation. The point is, 50 has been in real confrontations. The social media stuff doesn't scare him. But here's a story that doesn't get talked about enough. Back in 2022, 50 went on The Breakfast Club and told this wild story about Beyonce almost fighting him. Yeah, Beyonce. According to 50, he was in Las Vegas and approached Jay-Z to talk. Beyonce was sitting on a windowsill nearby. And as soon as 50 got close to Jay, Beyonce jumped down and came over looking like she was ready for something to go down. 50's exact words were, "She jumped out." And I'm like, wait, What is you doing? That's me and Jay-Z's stuff. This ain't got nothing to do with you, girl. He said she looked ready to fight him to defend her husband. 50 admitted he was thrown off because, in his words, you are still Beyonce. She brought all of the sexy over with that energy. Charlemagne joked that 50 was lucky Solange wasn't there, referencing the infamous elevator incident. And 50 laughed and said if Solange had been there, he would have had to reboot. The crazy part? 50 said if you asked Jay about this, he'd confirm it happened. Like Jay would look at you and say, nah, that happened. Now, I'm not saying Jay and 50 are about to have a physical altercation in 2025. They're both too rich and too old for that. But what this shows is that the tension between them has always been real. It's not just social media games. There's genuine animosity there. And with 50's documentary continuing to stir up controversy and names keep getting thrown around, who knows how this escalates? Nicki Minaj has been going at Jay and Roc Nation too. She's been posting AI-generated images of Jay, calling out Roc Nation CEO Desiree Perez, and 50 has been watching it all with his popcorn out, reposting her stuff and commenting, I like when she get mad. It feels like there's a whole coalition forming against Jay-Z right now. Whether it actually leads to anything beyond social media, beef remains to be seen. But the fact that we're even having this conversation in 2025 about rappers who started beefing in 1999, that tells you everything about how deep this goes. So here's my question, and I really want to know what you think. With all these rumors swirling about coordinated attacks and people teaming up against each other, do you think this beef stays online, or do you think we're headed for something bigger? And be honest, whose side are you on at this point? Drop your take in the comments. If you made it this far, you already know what to do. Subscribe if you want more breakdowns like this. And stay tuned, because with everything happening right now, this story is far from over.